Well, welcome everybody. We're going to have a nice class to get you warmed up and also relax and resting and having the beauty of using a support of a bolster. So grab a bolster and also perhaps an additional little blanket or tiny little pillow or cushion as we might be kind of propping our heads additionally. And we're going to start class today on our backs with the bolster right under our upper back, under the shoulder blades. And so this is where you might see if you need an additional little pillow or cushion. So I'm going to let my head fall back, and then I'm just going to put a little bit of support under my head so my neck isn't strained here, and then open up my arms wide. Let my legs relax, let my feet turn out here, and really making sure that the bolster is in such a place that you're getting the shape, the bend in the upper back here, and it's not in the mid or lower back. So this is just how we're going to arrive today. It's a nice opener, heart opener, chest and shoulder opener, and a good way to counterbalance any of the stress from your week. So find your way, and if you need to, have some warm socks on or a blanket or anything to keep yourself warm. I have the heat on in my house, but I am still cold, so do whatever you need to be comfortable as we arrive with some stillness. So as you arrive here, just let the eyes close and just go into your breath. Notice the shape and the experience of your breath at this moment arriving. Letting all the activity, thoughts, and engagements of the mind that you've had with your day, just letting those fall away, be released as you breathe. Lengthening your inhale to a nice long count of 5. And then taking a tiny pause at the top of the inhale, and then letting your exhale be exaggerated, maybe even sighing or shaking it out. And letting your exhale be nice and long, also to the count of 5. Pausing at the bottom of the exhale before you start the cycle of breath again. Making sure that your head is comfortable so your neck isn't strained at all here. Now for Deborah, for some of you who made your own yoga mats, you also, there may not be enough lift in the back to create some nice extension. And so feel free to, fold your blanket or your pillow over again if it, feels nice as you're laying here and you want to add a little bit more to the back bend, you can. Otherwise, just allowing yourself to settle in here and track your breath and arrive. And just keeping the eyes closed and the breath steady here, just open up the jaw for a moment and then close the jaw. And now just to give a little bit of exercise and movement to the jaw, mouth the word Hawaii. You can do it silently or you can do it audibly. I'm going to mute everybody. And then go ahead and mouth the word meow, like a cat might say. So Hawaii takes your jaw in one direction and meow takes the jaw in the other direction. So just getting a little bit of gentle movement. And then relax the jaw. Bring your hands to the hinge of the jaw, the side of the cheek here, and just give a little bit of massage of that jawline and then up toward the temple. And then bring your massage up to the top of the head and give a little massage to your scalp. And then to the back of the head as much as you can. And then bring the hands down to your neck and give some massage to your neck. And then release the arms back out to the side, really stretching the fingers this time wide. Now the backs of the hands can be resting on the floor. The palms of the hands are up, but stretch the fingers so wide that the hands and the arms lift off a little bit. So feeling that stretch and the strengthening through the forearms. Now release the hands, release the arms, and then begin to circle the hands, the wrists, and the fingers. Start to bring them up toward one another, up above the body. And then once the hands are here, interlace the fingers, turn the hands around, and then reach the palms of the hands up to the sky. Take a big inhale, and on your exhale, release the hands over the head, arms come alongside the ears, and then let go, release the clasp, bend your knees, and have your feet be a little bit wider than hips distance, and then let the knees go side to side just a little bit, not all the way over to the floor. Big breath in, big breath out, and then next time your knees are over to the left, come over onto your left side, push yourself up, and come onto your seat with your knees bent, your feet on the floor, and now you can move the bolster out of the way a little bit here. Round the spine and bring the forehead toward the knees. Just allow your chin to come toward your chest, and allow the weight of the forehead to be pulled gently by gravity here, stretching out the neck, and allowing that flexion in the spine here, allowing it to dome back. Now inhale, lift the heart, and allow the head to come back a little bit. Hold the knees and allow the spine to go into some length here, lifting the heart, letting the shoulders go down and away from the ears. Exhale, round the spine again, chin comes to the chest, forehead comes down toward the floor, stretching out the neck. On your next inhale, lift the spine, extending, lifting and lengthening, letting the head go back, stretching the throat just a little here. And then exhale, come back up and take a moment of just letting the sight be forward, the gaze be forward. Take a nice inhale, and on your exhale, look out over the right shoulder and let the head and neck get some rotation here, looking back behind you. Inhale back to center. Exhale, second side. Inhale back to center. Bring the hands behind you with the heels of the hands facing away, the fingers facing toward the body. And press down into all 10 finger pads, and then lift the heart and lift the chest. Press down into the hands, lengthening and stretching the forearms, the shoulders, the chest. Beautiful. Exhale, come back up and take your bolster over to the left side of the floor. So 6 or 8 inches or so away from the mat, and roll onto your back, and extend your left leg, and then take your right leg up, halfway up, so with the lower leg bent, and then roll onto your left hip and onto your left side, and rest your right shin and lower leg on the bolster. Now, take your hands, push yourself up and twist yourself to come onto your side, onto your left side. So you're not twisting that much, but you're coming onto your left side. Take your pillow, place it under the left ear, might be kind of resting on the left shoulder, and then adjust the bolster here so it's a very comfortable position. We're starting with a restorative pose. My right hand is just resting on the ground here, and I'm going to make myself comfortable, adjusting my left hip a little bit here. And we're just going to rest for several breaths here. So find yourself in a comfortable shape. Allow the belly to be relaxed and soft. The breathing can be fluid. So let's take 3 more breaths here, just relaxing, allowing the low back to get that nice rest with the legs supported. Relaxing the nervous system, bringing health and ease to our bodies just by having some conscious breathing and rest. Now we're going to turn this into a twist. And so if you have something on your head, under your head, you may scoot it back a little bit further. I'm going to scoot the bolster in a little bit closer to my body. And then I'm going to bring my right arm up to the sky and twist over to the right. Now, if my right arm doesn't make it all the way to the earth yet, that's okay. But I'm going to slowly let my chest and my upper back, upper spine begin to twist open while my top leg is still resting on the bolster. My head and neck look out over the right arm. And just allowing the bolster to support the leg, and thus letting this low back and hip take its time in reaching over and gradually moving into the twist. Breathing into the back of the heart here. So we'll take 2 more breaths in this twist. And after the second exhale, release the top leg and bring it onto the mat. Lift the hips and straighten out the back. And take a moment to just feel the evenness under the back and the pelvis here. And then let's bring the knees into the chest and just give a little hug, a little rock. And then release the legs back down to the mat. Extend the right leg long Make sure the bolster now is on the outside of the right side of your mat. I'm gonna lift my hips up and scoot them over to the left a little bit. Now I'm gonna take my left knee up and then bring my left leg over to the bolster, push myself up just enough so that I come onto my right side, bring the cushion under my right ear and just find a comfortable position here. My belly is relaxed, my head is supported, and my spine gets this nice support here, having my leg be lifted. Taking nice full breaths into the back of the body, the back of the kidneys, the back of the waist. So let's take 2 more breaths here in this side lying shape. Nice full breaths into the back body, the sides of the waist. And long, luxurious exhale. One more full breath. And then after that exhale, extend that left leg long and then inhale that left arm up to the sky and begin taking it over into a twist. And if you need to scoot the bolster in a little bit closer to make it more available to come into the twist, I also am lifting my shoulders up off the back and sliding my right shoulder more to the right so I can get more of my upper back down into this twist. Taking my time, the sides might feel very different. One side might feel a little tighter. You might go in to the twist more readily, more deeply, more quickly. And letting the head and the neck and the gaze come along for the ride. So looking out over my left arm. Or letting the eyes be closed and just breathing here, taking a passive twist. Breathing fully into the belly here, making sure there's no discomfort. So if anything doesn't feel right, adjust it. You can always lower that top knee if there's any discomfort in the low back. And we'll take one more big full breath in this pose. And then on your exhale, unwind, coming onto your back again. Moving the pillow out from your head and having the knees bent with the feet on the floor. For just a moment, press into the feet and curl into the low back, curling the pelvis up toward the ceiling or towards your forehead. And on your inhale, arch the back and allow the pelvis to tip forward. And do a couple more of those. Inhaling and exhaling, tilting the pelvis forward and back. Great. And then coming back to center, raise your left knee so your knee is stacked right over your hip. Now raise your right knee so your right knee is stacked right over your hip. Now bring your hands behind your head. We're going to do a few abdominals, but you want to mark this spot of not letting your thighs come any closer to your ribs. So with your legs, your lower legs parallel to the floor, extend your right leg long and just hover it over the floor an inch or so. And then bring that leg back up. Again, no further than 90 degrees straight up to the sky. Now extend the left leg long, hovering it just above the floor. Keep your shoulders relaxed. Inhale that leg. And we'll do one more on each side, keeping the head, the neck, and the trunk steady. Now we're going to do more of a bicycle. So now extend the right leg long, lift the right shoulder to the left knee, back to center. Extend left leg long, left shoulder to right knee, back to center. And now let's do 3 more on each side, keeping that leg that's up from coming any closer to the belly. Moving nice and slow. All right, let's do 2 more each side. And release down to the mat. Bring your knees into your chest and start to rock up and back until you come all the way onto your seat. Cross your ankles, come onto your knees, and then step back into downward dog. Take a few breaths to arrive in down dog. Pressing down into the hands, reaching the hips up and back. And now come down onto your knees. And then take your right forearm, place it on the floor. And place both forearms on the floor. And interlace the fingers and press the base of the hands down into the mat. Now move the shoulders down away from the ears, lengthen the neck. And now lift the knees. And then walk the feet in. And reach the heels down, and then reach down into your forearms. Moving the shoulders down away from the ears, lengthening the neck. And then bringing the knees back down onto the floor, coming up to hands and knees. And then bringing the feet back behind you to come into plank pose. Engaging the quads, lifting the kneecaps, and reaching those heels back behind you. Now you can either bring your knees down onto the mat or just bend the elbows in to come all the way down onto your belly. And then we'll come into cobra pose. So hands alongside the chest, pressing the tops of the feet and the pelvis into the mat. Elbows stream down towards your heels. Exhale all the air. And on your inhale, press up into cobra. Shoulders sliding away from the ears, elbows sliding down to the earth. And exhale, rest your cheek on the mat, looking one direction or the other. And now bring the forehead back to the mat. Slide the hands forward a little bit more. Again, pressing the pelvis and the tops of the feet into the mat. Exhale all the air. And on your inhale, press into your hands and come up a little bit higher. Elbows still hug in and stream down toward the heels. Stretching out our abdominals after our workout. Lifting the heart, spreading the collarbones wide. One more inhale. And on your exhale, come down and put the other cheek on the mat and take a little rest. Letting the neck get a gentle stretch here by looking in one direction. And then bringing the forehead back to center, we're going to push up into plank. So if you'd like to go through hands and knees, you can do so. Otherwise, hugging the elbows in, planting the hands, turning the toes under, letting the legs be strong, lifting the belly button toward the spine, and then pressing into the hands to come up. Take an inhale, and on your exhale, come back into down dog. Take a couple of breaths here, reaching the heels, the inner and the outer heels down to the mat, reaching those hips up and back. Now, walk the right foot in slightly closer to the left foot, so it's a little bit more in the center of the mat. Inhale the left leg up to the sky, and then exhale, bring the knee to the nose and squeeze. And then release that leg back up. Now exhale that knee to the left elbow, back up to the sky. And now bring the knee to the right elbow and squeeze those abdominals. One more time, knee goes up to the sky, or leg goes up to the sky. And now exhale that left foot forward, bring the right knee down. Put the top of the right foot on the mat and bring your bolster and place it underneath the right thigh. So your right thigh or hip is resting on the bolster and your left knee is right over your left ankle. So this is a variation on dragon pose. So my right hip is resting on the bolster. Before I fold forward, I'm just gonna see if I can anchor my left hip back a little bit here to try to bring an evenness, as much evenness as I can to this asymmetrical pose. And then I'm gonna exhale, allow my chest to come forward toward the bolster. And then allowing my head to come down. Now, for some of you, you might be able to do this without the bolster. You're welcome to move the bolster out of the way altogether, but this is a nice opportunity to use a prop here to go into a deep stretch into our left hip. So allowing the belly and the chest to just rest here on the bolster. Following your breath and just being patient with the body. Breathing into the back, breathing into the sides of the waist, the kidney area of the body. So really allowing the back body to be full with our breath and seeing if you can go lower. We'll be here for another 3 breaths. And at the bottom of your 3rd breath, go ahead and move your hands to the floor or to the bolster. And then go ahead and lift the chest up. Let the heart sail forward. Let the shoulders slide down the back. Now, this might be enough to just stay right here. You can, keeping your right hand on the bolster, you can bring your left arm alongside the ear, or you can bring both arms alongside the ears if that feels safe on the hip crease and the hips here. Breathing fully into the belly, letting the heart sail up to the sky. And now exhale that left hand down, press into the bolster and step the left knee back. Move the bolster out of the way and let the knees be as wide as the hips, and then just sway side to side. And then take a circle, bringing the hips to the heels and then forward. And then switching directions. Beautiful. And then coming back to hands and knees, turning the toes under, lifting the knees off the mat, taking a breath here, taking a nice full inhale, and on your exhale, lifting the hips up and back to come back into down dog. Now step the left foot toward the center of the mat a couple of inches, and then raise the right foot up to the sky. Inhale that knee to the nose and nose to the knee, squeeze, and send the leg back up. Exhale that right knee to the right elbow, hovering for a moment, and send the leg back up. And now for the last time, knee to left elbow, hovering that leg, building our abdominal muscles, and leg goes back up. And now step that right foot through, bring that left knee down. Now we'll do the second side of this deep stretch. So bring the bolster under the left hip, left thigh. And then making sure that right ankle is under the right knee. And lifting the spine here, lengthening and feeling into the hips and noticing the hips, the sensations here. And then hinging forward, coming onto the bolster. And taking your time, being patient. Pausing when you meet the stretch, when you meet the boundary. And kindly, gently breathing into that spot. Pausing and just observing how you feel. Letting the belly be soft, letting the breath travel through the body, making sure that even though we're in an intense stretch, that you can breathe fully and the breath is not caught anywhere. If it's too much, just come out of the pose more. You don't need to go past what feels comfortable. And we'll take 3 more slow, steady breaths together here. Exhaling all the air. And then on your next inhale, gently lifting the body back up. And letting the shoulders and the chest, the shoulders widen, the chest widen here. And then keeping the left hand on the bolster, bringing the right arm alongside the right ear, bringing the belly in toward the spine. If it's available to you, you can bring both arms up, but if that doesn't feel 100% safe on your back or your hips, keep one hand or both hands down. And then finally, bringing a little arch to the upper back, lifting the heart. And exhaling that right hand down. Once again, stepping the right knee back, having the knees wide, bringing the hands down and going side to side with the hips here. And coming forward and then out to the left, now bringing the hips back down toward your heels. We'll stay here for a moment and just go side to side with the hips going back and forth, stretching into these hip flexors, the hip crease. And on your next inhale, go over to the right side and come forward. And then this time, bring the hips back, turn the toes under, and reach the hips back and allow the head to come down toward the mat. Release the neck, release the head here. Feeling the stretch in the feet, in the toes, as well as in the hips. And then just gently, once again, go side to side. If that's too painful on the toes, you can bring the tops of the feet back to the mat and return to that shape. Otherwise, just another breath here and reach into the ribs, stretching out the left side of the ribs, and now reach over into the right. Beautiful. And then come back up to hands and knees, grab your bolster and have it right in the center of the mat. Let's just go ahead and scoot it back and come to sit on the bolster. Oh, my hair clip is falling out. So we're sitting here on the bolster with our knees bent, and go ahead and now bring your right leg forward. So we're bringing the right leg forward, actually scoot further to the edge of the bolster so that it's really just under your seat. And if you're on a pillow or a blanket, you might fold it a little bit so that you have some support here. So the right leg is long, the left knee is bent, and the right toes are reaching up toward the ceiling. So we're going to inhale to lengthen the spine and exhale to fold forward toward those toes. And just take a few breaths here just to hinge at the hips, not rounding the spine, not yet, rather lengthening and hinging so that we can bring our low belly and our ribs closer to our thigh. You may not need to do much to get a lot of stretch here. This tends to be pretty tight on most of us, the hamstrings, the backs of the legs. So being gentle and being steady and just being patient with the sensations here. Breathing as you meet the stretch. Now for the last couple of breaths, if you like, you can fold all the way forward if that's available to you, if that feels good. If it feels safer on your back, just keep your spine straight. Otherwise, you can fold forward, allowing the forehead to come down toward the shin. Toes still reach up toward the sky. And exhale all the air, and on your next inhale, allow the hands to help walk you back up, allow your abdominals to help the body come back up to seated. And then let's bring the left leg out to join the right, and take a moment to just give a little bit of massage to the knees, to the thighs. And then let's bend that right knee, bringing that right lower leg onto the mat. And with the left leg extended, left toes point up to the sky. We'll just go ahead and begin to shift forward, anchoring that left hip back behind you, imagining someone has a belt around your hips and is just pulling your hips back as you shift forward. And making sure also that your big toe is not coming back kind of more readily than your little toe. So trying to keep an evenness in the ball of the foot as the ankle is flexed and the toes reach up toward the sky. Embodying patience. And for our last few breaths, if you'd like, you can round the spine forward to come into a forward fold, or again, if it feels safer and just more appropriate for your body today, your hamstrings and your back, to keep the spine upright, you can do so. Otherwise, again, just allowing the forehead to come down toward the left shin. Probably a difference between the legs. We're often more tight on one side of the body than the other. And using your abdominal strength and your hands, walk yourself back up. And go ahead and turn around on your mat. Take your bolster and put it the short way across the mat. And walk your knees back under your hips and bring your elbows onto the bolster. And walk your knees back a couple of inches, and then let your elbows come onto the bolster. Actually, I need to walk my knees slightly closer for a moment. I'll show you where we're going. We're going into a shoulder stretch here, where I'm bringing my hands together. I'm letting my forehead come to the bolster, and I'm letting my back arch, but I'm trying to keep my hips over my knees here. It's a pretty intense stretch on the arms and the shoulders. We'll only be here for a few more breaths, but it's a great stretch to be able to get to do when we have the prop. So we'll take 2 more breaths here, allowing the back to arch. And then walking the knees back in and coming up onto the hands. And then rolling the bolster out of the way and bringing yourself down onto your belly. Bring that right arm out to the right side with your palm face down. Make sure I'm in the view. And we're going to, we're going to do another shoulder stretch here. If you have any injuries with your shoulders, you may just want to skip this or just see what I'm doing and see if this is going to be appropriate for your shoulders. So what I'm going to do now is, with my palm face down, I'm going to roll onto my right side, bring my left knee up to the sky, and plant my left foot on the floor. I'm using my left hand here to support and guide me on the floor. And the main thing is here, I'm stretching out the front of the right shoulder. Then I'm going to roll back onto my belly and do second side. So I'm going to send my left arm out to the side, going to roll onto my left side, bend my right knee up to the sky, and use my right hand as a guide right now to prop up my right shoulder as I stretch into my left shoulder. And then coming back onto your belly, push yourself back up and grab your bolster and come to sit on your left side, your left hip, with your knees bent. And I have the bolster right at my left hip. I'm going to now turn my belly toward the bolster. We've done this in class before, if you've done a bolster class with me. And really try to twist the front of my belly right to the center of the bolster. Then I'm going to lay my belly down, and you have a couple of options. So I'm bringing my arms alongside the bolster to support myself. You can bring your right cheek all the way down onto the bolster, but that might be too much. You can always start with your left cheek on the bolster. So it's just the beginning of a twist, and is not too intense. And as time goes on, you may want to try lifting yourself up, rotating to bring the belly further along so you can bring your right cheek on the bolster. But go ahead and see what feels right for you. Your right knee, you can always scoot it down a little bit further. The height of your right knee sort of helps, and the placement of your left hip can adjust if there's any discomfort in the low back. So feel free to kind of adjust or modify where your legs are. And we're just going to basically enjoy this restorative pose, this kind of variation on a twist, supported twist. And feel free to adjust it so that it feels right, making small or big tweaks. And then go ahead and allow the body to rest, the bones and the muscles to rest here. You should feel supported and held. This pose should feel comfortable. Let's take 2 more deep breaths here in this shape. Allowing the belly to be soft, breathing into the backs of the ribs, the backs of the shoulder blades. And on your next exhale, empty all the air from the lungs and push yourself very slowly back up to seated. You can turn around or you can change the placement of the bolster. We'll go to second side. So placing the bolster now at the right hip, bringing the hands alongside the bolster, turning the belly, using the low abdominal muscles to help twist the center of the belly, the navel toward the front of the bolster, taking a big inhale to lengthen the spine, and exhale, pouring yourself down onto the bolster, bringing the arms alongside to support, and then placing either the left cheek or the right cheek on the bolster. Noticing the sensation of your belly moving against the bolster, the support, getting that feedback of your breath, your breathing, moving body. Making any fine-tunings or adjustments to make sure you're not holding any tension where it's not necessary. The head and the neck are relaxed, the shoulders and the arms are relaxed. Belly can be relaxed and we can breathe into the back ribs, the back of the waist. Take another 2 breaths here. Nice, full, long, expansive breaths, long exhales. And after your the second exhale, go ahead and place the hands underneath the shoulders and gently push yourself back up. Beautiful. And now we're going to bring the bolster, we're going to turn, so we're facing forward or whichever direction, and bring the bolster right to the back of the waist, and then lay down onto the bolster, pour yourself on the bolster, and then open the arms wide, palms up to the sky, and straighten the legs. Let the feet be hips width, and the ankles just be soft, feet stretching out. turned out. And this is a really nice stretch, both for the back, but also for the heads of the shoulders and the arms here, letting the elbows reach down, letting the pull of gravity open up the whole front of the chest. Make sure that the head is not tilted up or the chin coming to crunching down toward the chest, but that there's a good curve in the cervical spine, your neck. And then just go ahead and breathe into your belly, breathe into the backs of the ribs, the sides of the waist. Allowing for the soothing sounds of your breath and hopefully not a cranky toddler in the background of your own yoga studio here, but allowing for the breath to just wash over your body. Breathing deeply and connecting with the breath in such a way that it allows a kind of relaxation that happens only when we are aware of our inhales and our exhales. So seeing if you can pay attention to those experiences of being alive, both breathing all the way in and breathing all the way out. So we're going to come to our Shavasana pose. Now you're pretty close in this shape. If you'd like to stay in this shape, we have about 3 or 4 more minutes. So if you'd like to stay in this shape, you're welcome to. Otherwise, just gently come off of the bolster and move the bolster down so that you can lay on your back and then bring the bolster underneath your knees. And take your Shavasana, allowing the body to rest, allowing the energy and your kind of like your whole psychic body here to just rest down, to spread out, and to experience the quiet of our final resting shape. Begin to bring your hands to your belly. And spread your fingers out and really feel the warmth of your belly and feel the movement of the breath, the up and down. It's one of our first and perhaps most profound lessons in being soothed when we're babies is lying on people's chests or being held and feeling the movement of their breath, the beat of their heart and the movement of their breath. So sometimes just doing this to ourselves creates this lovely feedback loop of self-soothing, calming, and caring for our nervous system. So a nice, very simple way to give yourself some self-care at the end of your day, your week, your practice. So go ahead and begin to wiggle a little and move your way up to seated. And finding yourself in a seated shape. Closing your eyes, you can sit on your bolster, you can sit on your mat. Just taking a couple of breaths. Noticing your interior experience, the temperature of the inside of your body, the pace of your thoughts, and the flow of breath. Might be different than when you started class, most likely it is, but it's nice to just connect and notice what it's like. So as you transition into the next portion of your evening, you can carry whatever parts of this you'd like to carry with you. Sometimes it's just a sense of inner quiet. So let's open the palms of our hands and then slowly bring that warmth and that goodness together, allowing our palms to come together, lifting our hearts toward our hands, bringing patience to our experience with ourselves and to our experience with others in these trying times. So thank you for practicing with me. Have a good rest of your evening. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you. That felt great.
Oh, good. Good. Well, thanks to all the supports and props in our lives, both literal and metaphorical. All right, everybody, have a great evening. I'll see you next time.